All right. Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and Miniature video. We're doing our Wargaming Weekly. Okay, give me a minute to get kind of settled in, and then we'll get started. I see that my head cam is like way back, but that's okay. I think everybody will be okay. Got something in my mouth. I'm trying to finish it. All right, guys. Today we are going to be working on some medieval Burgundians. 15 millimeter Old Glory archers and crossbowmen. There we go. Fingers get in there all the way. I haven't been feeling good the last couple of days. Just FYI. And I've been feeling pretty good this morning. Not well. Let me rephrase it. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm still not 100%. It's almost like I had a cold over the weekend. What I've been trying to do, and maybe I've been overdoing it. Don't mean to yell at you guys, but what I've been working on, I don't know if you can see it behind me over here, is I'm redoing my shelving, and I'm kind of moving armies or painted figures from the wall shelves into these drawers. And putting that up, I tore behind me, these two shelves behind me over here on this side. I tore all that down, cleaned everything, and it's like spring cleaning, but in December. And I've been working on it pretty heavily. And then I've got a ton of boxes because I bought a lot of these white plastic Sterilite shelves. I have one of those on my desk here. You know, that C4 energy drink. Hey man, good morning. Okay, so what I plan to do this morning, hopefully, is I've already washed these in soap and water. They should be dry enough, and if they're not, it's okay. I also created some popsicle sticks with double-sided tape. I've already got that set aside. And I got my file out, because what we're going to do is we're going to file the bottoms of these guys. And then I'll go through with the X-Acto knife and clean them up a little bit. And then prime them. That's the plan. I got some almond milk here. It's vanilla flavored. My wife bought it. I'm not saying it's the greatest. But it's not bad. I think if it was coconut milk, it would be a lot better. Okay. So you guys are going to hear it first from the horse's mouth. Later this afternoon, or I should say in a couple of hours, when we're done with the live stream, I plan to do a short video. And I haven't done one of these videos in a long while. But it's going to be what's called an all project update. End of the year, all project update. And it's going to basically, I'm going to touch on all the projects that I'm currently have in the works. Because none of my projects are finished. And if you follow my channel, you probably have seen that I've been doing a lot of American War of Independence lately. Yeah, there we go. At the expense of all the other projects. But that's okay. That's okay, because I got really close to having all the units done for Freeman's Farm. They're not done, but I got close. But I'm going to take a break from my AWI Freeman's Farm project. And I'm going to work a little bit on my 100 Years War project. Which I have 4 armies that I wanted to put together for my 100 Years War. But I'm only going to do one. I'm just going to work like on the Freeman's Farm. I was building for a scenario. So I was doing all the troops needed for the British, the Hessians, and the Americans. And, or I should say the Continentals. And, which is perfectly fine. I mean, that's good, because once I get all those done, okay, I can see this is going to need to be, I'm going to need to use a needle nose to bend that stand straight. And these are not the glasses I should be using for this. So we're going to swap out. Go to my miniature glasses. So I'm telling you here, but this is basically what I'm going to be saying in my short video. I'm going to talk about my Napoleonic project that I've got. Which I was working on all the troops for Quatre Bras. Sorry, I can't do 2 things at once. Okay. These are going to be archers and crossbowmen, just so you know. And they come out of this set here, which is the Field of Glory Storm of Arrows 17. But I'm not basing them up or army organizing for Field of Glory, even though I do have that, and I do have that army list and everything. But I'm doing it for Meg. Mortem et Gloriam. I find it to be a superior rule set. They're both really good rules, and they're both very similar. They take a lot of inspiration, or I should say, Meg takes a lot of inspiration from Field of Glory. But I feel that Meg has a better, I don't know, it just jibes with me better. I don't know. The Field of Glory set of rules just seemed a little too WRG, you know, and I didn't like any of the WRG rules. Field of Glory was a step in the right direction, but Meg is the second step in the right direction. I tried Armati and Armati 2. Those were good sets of rules, but they were just a little too easy. You know, they didn't have any depth. And then I even tried Hail Caesar. Good set of rules. I like it. But it just felt like it was geared toward it felt I don't know how to explain it. Hail Caesar is a good set of rules, but I felt like it was just short of what I wanted. So I expanded out to a game called Sword Point. I don't know if you're familiar with that set of rules, but Sword Point just reminded me of Hail Caesar. It's Hail Caesar with a different set of rules. Like it goes about things in a different way. Okay. So now I've got my Romans still half done. I've got my Macedonians and Germanics. The Macedonians are pretty much finished. I think they are finished. But the Germanics are finished if I was doing a Magna set of size for Meg. But if I was doing a Maximus, they're shy. But I think I prefer Magna anyway. So my Germanics should be done, but my Romans are not. What I was doing is trying to do the Republican, not the Republican Romans. I guess they are Republican, but they're the Caesarian Romans, after they started forming legions, yeah, I started making like republicans, you know, principes, stati, triarii, and all that. And then I kind of made a shift to Caesar's Rome. Instead of Scipio. And yeah, got all the decals for all the different shields and everything. But those guys, they still need to be done. Because once I get my Romans done, then I can do like Caesar in Germany, the Gallic or the Germanic campaigns. My O group, right? My World War II O group. I've got like 3 or 4 battalions finished. And they're ready. They're ready to rock and roll. I can sit down and play O group with those 4 battalions. There's a few more battalions that I wanted to do. There's also I wanted to flesh out the battalions so that I could use them in command decision as divisions or regiments. Regiments. Brigades or whatever. So if I ever wanted to play like a command decision game, I could just pull out my O group miniatures and reorganize them a little bit differently. They would require a few more different models to make them functional, you know. And I wanted to kind of flesh them out that way where they could be used with either game. Whoops, I didn't even test that. Yeah, okay, it works. Okay, so bottom up, we got my ancients, putting them off to the side. Not really ancients. I should say my Romans, because the Burgundians here are part of that same rule set. They're just a different time period. You know, it's medievals. They're not even late medievals. They're kind of like middle medievals. Just straight medievals. But I'm kind of leaning towards the time period of 100 Years' War. Because I have English and French. Oh, wow, I threw it over there and it just stood up on its own. I have some English and French armies in their bag like that. But I was noticing that the Burgundians fought the Swiss more than anything else. But that's okay. We could do some hypotheticals. Mag is geared towards hypotheticals. But I would want to do some Swiss. Yep. And so if I did Swiss, French, I was going to say French and Indians. No, if I did Swiss, French and English, and the Burgundians, I think I would be satisfied with my 100 Years' War. I want to do Romans. I want to do Carthaginians for the Republican Romans, but I'm not in a rush to do Republican Romans and Carthaginians. Now I did the Macedonians because I'm really intrigued with them, but I should do the Persians so that they could have their historical enemy. But I could always grab some Romans and take them up against the Macedonians. It's no problem. Hypotheticals. See what I'm talking about? Okay, and then American War of Independence. I've got more than half of the units done. I've got pretty much all the terrain done that I need for Freeman's Farm. And that terrain can be used for pretty much any battle. I got one video left for the Field of Glory, not Field of Glory, Land of the Free boot camp that I'm doing. I've been kind of debating how I want to do that and how I want to edit it and film it and all that stuff. So I've been procrastinating on that last video. Of the boot camp, that is. I guess it's not going to be the last video. It's going to be the second to last video because I'll want to do a video where I play a game and include that as part of the boot camp, like putting it all together, you know, putting all the rules together, and this is what, you know, this is the game. Maybe something like that. I'm guessing. I don't know. And, okay. Yeah, my Oathmark fantasy armies have all but been paused. I was planning on doing some dwarfs. That was my, you know, I even got a box of dwarves, heavy armored dwarves and stuff, and I was going to base them up on round bases, which is not an Oathmark thing, but I was going to put them in sabos for the unit, and just never got around to doing it. Yeah, my Napoleonics for Quatre Bras is the setup that I was working on, but eventually I was planning on doing enough for Waterloo, which means I would have a shit ton of miniatures. You know, first and second corps. I'm going to have the guard corps. Not to mention the cavalry corps. And the Prussians and the Brits. And all the minor nations and everything. So I decided I was just going to do Quatre Bras first. And then work my way up from that. But in the process of building the army, I decided I was going to write my own set of rules. And it has gone, I'm calling it Marshals and Generals. And it has gone through a couple of different iterations, maybe 4 by now, where I have a really good idea, or at least I think it's a good idea, and I put it down on paper. Not really, I put it on a Google document. But, and then I say, oh, that's pretty good. I like it. And then 2 days later, I see some other game that has a really cool mechanic. And I'm like, oh man, I'd like to use a mechanic like that in my game. But I got to rewrite the rules. Because they're not, they wouldn't be compatible or something. So, and it's almost, there's three things that I struggle with my rules. Command and control, how I want to do the command and control. How I want to, issue orders or roll dice or inches or, like radius or something like that. That's one of the things that is on my mind. And then shooting, how far you shoot, how many dice you roll, what are the target numbers, that kind of stuff. And then the melee, how I want to conduct melees. Movement pretty much goes along with command and control, issuing orders, moving your troops. So maybe we'll call it 4 things: command and control, movement, shooting, and melee. Morale, I pretty much have like army morale and unit morale and stuff like that. I don't know. That kind of goes with the shooting and melee casualties. And I thought about different bases, right? When I started playing Meg, I fell in love with this set of rules, right? I really did. When I started playing Battle Group, I fell in love with the way they do army morale or force morale. So my thought process was use army morale from Battle Group and then use like shooting and melee from Meg, but it does work, but it's not the game I'm trying to write. I have a design philosophy, and it's called fast, fun, and playable. So I want my game to go fast. So even though my game's written for a core, it could be upscaled to an army. So like when you play Quatre Bras, you would play with each unit on the table would be a battalion moving around. But if you played something like Waterloo with multiple corps on the table, now you're going to change that unit block, you know, a number of figures on a number of bases. Instead of it representing a battalion, it's now going to represent a brigade. But it's going to function in exactly the same. So there's not going to be any changes to the rules. It's just going to be a representation change. If that makes sense. So it's almost like you're converting all those corps into divisions. Still there would be a bunch of divisions on the table. But I want it to be playable. I want Waterloo to be playable in an afternoon. You know? Yeah. Okay. So these guys all have flat bases. Now we're going to go through and trim each figure, clean each figure. Okay, these glasses might not be detailed enough. I took one step up for these glasses. I'm going to take a massive leap. For these modeling glasses or jewelry glasses or whatever they're called. Oh yeah, now I can see this model clearly. A little fuzz from the, or burr I should say, from the mold. The lighting hits the helmet just right. You can see the mold line. Got a Salé or a, no, it's a Bassinet. I don't know what that is. Looks kind of like a Salé. He's wearing a salad on his head. No, it's a Salé. I used to be very big into making armor. I don't know, you guys probably don't know this about me, but I used to cut metal, pound it out on an anvil, and rivet it together and make armor. I made a great helm. I made breastplates and shoulder cops, knee and elbows, articulated, gauntlets. Made a Burgundian. I used to be a part of a group called the SCA, which is a medieval reenactment group. I'm not going to call them reenactment. They're kind of like living history, actually. They don't reenact anything. They have their own kingdoms and their own hierarchy, and they have their own battles. And it's all just for fun. It's really all just for fun. But the fighting is done with rattan wooden clubs. And you swing as hard as you can. Not excessively, but you do pound the guy. You hit him hard enough that he has to admit that he would have been killed if he wasn't wearing the armor that I made him. But yeah, I made my own armor, and I made friends' armor. I bought armor from master armorers. Because there were some armorers out there that knew what they were doing. And some of the rounded helmets, you needed to have a welder. And you would weld two halves together with a... And I didn't do welding. What is going on with this crossbow? Okay. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to take a break from my American War of Independence, probably for a month or two. I want to do these Burgundians. I want to finish them. I'm not going to do a huge amount. I'm just going to do this bag, right? This starter army that Old Glory has put together. And once I get them done, I'll go back to my American War. I've got a bunch of World War II models that don't necessarily fall into the O group layout, right? Because O group is really an infantry game, but with tank support. Where command decision is because of the high level that it's at, divisional or whatever, it's got combined arms. So you're going to need battalions of tanks, which is really only about 10 tanks. But damn, that's 10 tanks, which I'm doing everything in 15 millimeter. So if you think about it, Plastic Soldier Company sells their tanks in boxes of 5. So 2 of those is a battalion. It was really not that bad. But I was able to pick up some 3D prints of a bunch of tanks. They were about $5 a piece. So that's $50 for a battalion. To me, that's pretty steep. But if you play bolt action, just using this as an example, you're paying $50 for one tank. But it's a much larger tank. It's 28 millimeter. And it's a skirmish game. Not the same kind of game. Okay, the starter set lists the crossbowman. No, maybe the longbowman. The longbowman as Picard longbow. And I'm like, what's a Picard longbow? I don't know what that is. So there is an area in northern France called Picardy. Changed hands pretty regularly. It was English, it was French, and it was Burgundian. Depending on what year it was, it could have been one of those. I looked at the, how they outfitted themselves and stuff like that. When they were in Burgundian service, they wore the traditional Burgundian colors. And Meg treats them as just the same. You know, there's no special superpower. Yeah, everything in the Burgundian army was crossbow. And there's 3 distinct territories that these crossbows came from. It was Burgundy, Picardy, or Low Countries. And but they've got this on their army list, they've got this upgrade option where you can take 2/3 of your crossbowmen and convert them to longbowmen. So the starter set comes with the same number of crossbowmen as it does longbowmen, I think. We're going to count them out here in a minute once I get everything cleaned. So if I use all these longbowmen, and if I use all these crossbowmen, then it would be 1/2, which is less than 2/3. So I'll be good. I'll be good to go. Now I could skimp on the crossbows. But remember, I've got to have 2/3 or at least 1/3 crossbows. I do believe the longbowmen are allowed to have stakes or some kind of obstacle. They cost points, but all that means is I'm going to make them. Because I know the English are going to use them, and basically anybody that's got longbows, I think, can have stakes. I think. So I might as well just make a bunch of stakes so that when I'm playing a battle and I need them, I can just pull them out. I was thinking about doing like an Agincourt, like finding out what the historical units were at Agincourt. I think I've got the Osprey book on Agincourt. And put all those units together and do a historical refight of Agincourt. Because I have the French and the British, English armies. But I just wanted to do these Burgundians. I've been wanting to do this Burgundian army for years. I did an English army a long time ago for Field of Glory. That was my go-to army. I had a Republican Roman army and a English army. You know, they're not in the same genre. One was medieval, one was ancients. We played a battle, same points on both sides. The English destroyed the Romans. I mean, they couldn't deal with the longbows. So the points were not really a very balancing factor. Once you take into effect the technology. I'm sure if, hypothetically, if it was 1,000 points, if you did 1,000 points of English and then 1,000 points of French medievals, it probably would have been okay. Or 1,000 points of Romans against 1,000 points of Germans probably would have been okay. But 1,000 points of English against 1,000 points of Romans, the Romans got decimated. Worse than decimated. Decimated is only 10%. They must have lost 50, 60, 70%. Romans cavalry just can't. First of all, they don't have a whole lot of it. And chainmail just doesn't stand up to plate. They were using gladius against two-handed warhammers. Now, we played this with Field of Glory. It might be different with Meg. Or it might be exactly the same. And I am thinking about going to NashCon this year. Thinking about it. Maybe hosting a game. It won't be my game. It'll either be Meg, O Group, or Land of the Free. It's going to be one of those three. O Group is really designed for 1v1. So that's not really a good tournament, or I should say convention style game. It could be. We could give each player a company, but the way the orders work and everything, it just doesn't. I don't think it works that way. Land of the Free. Would be better. If you play Meg, you got cards you got to issue and give to your commanders. And they can use their own cards, but then you got an overall commander who can share cards. I don't know. None of these games really lend themselves to multiplayer. And I want to have multiple players on both sides. At least 3. And if I can squeeze more, that'd be even better. And we could do a massive battle with O group and give each player a battalion, but that's just way too many figures for me. And they wouldn't get done playing in 4 hours. So I don't know what I want to do. Yeah, this model's not too bad. My scraping is all like off camera. So I apologize for that, but you don't need to see all that. It's just me scraping the mold lines, getting any flash off of there, cutting any burrs off. So that when I do paint these, it doesn't look like they're straight out of the box. Oh, really? Maybe I need to check some of my other crossbowmen. There's a gap between the arm and the crossbow that I haven't been cleaning out. Okay. Yeah, so maybe I'll need to double check that. But I'm really focusing on their helmets, getting rid of the mold line, because that way it'll look more round when I paint it. And a lot of times down the leg, you'll get a mold line. I've been getting mold lines on these bows, but that's okay because they're going to be wooden. If it's egregious, I'll try trimming it, but otherwise I'm not too worried about the longbows. And if the mold lines are in the right place, it could simulate stitching on their pants or sleeves. But if it's not in the right place, then I got to trim it out. And I think these guys are going to be pretty easy to paint. I hope. But I'm under the philosophy not to rush. Don't rush your painting. Don't use contrast paints. First of all, contrast paints rub off too easy. They don't stick well. Specifically the metallics. And secondly, contrast paints are designed to like let the microwave generation rush to get their miniatures finished and on the table so they could play a game. And some contrast paints actually come out looking really good. But more often than not, they look like you used contrast paints. I'm sorry if that offends you or if that's what you use. Some people, there's just a different philosophy. Some people think that they need to get their figures done today. You know, like, I don't have a whole lot of time. I only have like an hour. Okay, you heard my voice change, right? I only have like an hour a week to paint, so I got to get my army done. Well, if it takes you 5 times as long to actually paint your model using proven techniques, let's say it takes you 5 hours to paint your models well, but using contrast paints, it takes you 1 hour to paint quick. Take the 5 hours. Take your time. Don't rush. Do it right. Use the right colors. Use the right shading and washes and dry brushing techniques and highlighting. Take your time. It's your model, right? It's your, it's going to go on your shelf. It's going to go on your table. And if you're trying to paint a whole army for a tournament that's happening this weekend, well, then you didn't plan ahead very well. I say don't. Don't be that guy that shows up with a contrast painted army. That reminds me of a customer that used to paint to the minimum. minimum standards, whatever they were. That's what he would paint to, and he wouldn't go any further. Like we had rules in our store that you had to paint to a certain detail. And he would be like, okay, well, then that's what I'll paint to. Because he didn't care. He just wanted to play. I feel sorry for him. He's the kind of guy that would have used contrast paint. So what do they call that hat that has a big floppy side to it? Is that a forager cap? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a campaign cap either. It might be a campaign cap. But a handful of these models are wearing this cap that has a big floppy piece that's pulled over to one side. Wow, this is taking forever. You know what? I don't mind. I want my models to look good when I'm done. Remember what they say. Preparation gets rid of perspiration. I plan to prime these with white. My knights and my men-at-arms and stuff like that, I think I'm going to prime them black. Because of the armor. My bowels are yelling at me. So I might need to run to the bathroom before I get done trimming all these. I'll let you know if I need to go. Oh, that one sleeve was pretty bad. Can you hear that? My stomach making all kinds of noises. Just went growling at me. The mic over here is pretty close to my stomach, so I think you might be able to hear it. Yeah, I think I'm going to put this guy down. I'm going to take a 4 to 5 minute break, rush to the bathroom, do what I need to do, and then I'll be right back. Excuse me. Okay, I am back. Switching my glasses back. Oh, I can't see the screen when I do that. Oh, I didn't do that. Okay. Oh well. Okay, back to trimming. I've only got a handful left, so. So has everybody finished their Christmas shopping? I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I have not finished. I was thinking about getting gift cards, but then I thought about it. I was like, that's kind of a lame gift. And I'm only really giving 2 gifts. I'm giving one to my wife and one to my son. I have no idea what they want. Now, my wife does a lot of reading, right? So I thought I could get her a book, but instead I got her a bookmark. I got her one of those magnetic bookmarks with her initial on it. Hopefully she likes it. I haven't gotten it in yet. It hasn't been delivered. But I ordered it. But that's not enough. That's a stocking stuffer, not really a gift. So I need to kind of, I don't know what else you would want. Jewelry's always good, but if you always get her jewelry, then it's not special. It's not different or unique. So I have to think. How am I gonna? One year I named a star after her. You know, you can go. There's a website you can go to that has a list of stars that have not been named, and you can pick one and you can name it and then submit it to the NASA or whoever it was that keeps track of all that. So yeah, she's got a star named after her. But I don't know what. There was this thing where you could buy land and be considered a lord or a lady or whatever, because you would own land in England somewhere. what's she going to do with 1 square yard of land? Then again, what's she going to do with the star? I don't, you know. Oh, yikes. This one's got a lot of flash. Okay. Came off pretty easy. Again, I'm focusing really heavily on the helmets. I want them to be smooth and round. Well, they can be dented or whatever. I just don't want that line. The mold line. Now, I thought about brush priming these guys, but I think I'm going to spray prime them. I'm doing white because half of the tabard is going to be blue and the other half is going to be white. And pants are going to be all different kinds of bright colors. Mostly blue and white, but there might be a little bit of red, a little bit of green. I don't think there's going to be any yellow pants. But yeah, the Burgundian army was very brightly colored. That's pretty much why I'm priming white. Okay, last dude. That longbow needs a little trim. There's one thing to have a mold line, but there's another to have the mold not even match. Okay. Hard to tell on this helmet. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, I turned it one way and lighting hit it and I could see, oh my gosh, that helmet needs to be trimmed. Can't. Okay, they're all done. Nice. Okay, I don't need these glasses to do this next step. I'll use my mid-range glasses for this. Oh, gotta stretch a little bit. All right, so I want to show you, I'm going to show you here in a minute the army list that I'm working with so you can kind of get an impression of my Burgundian army. But in Meg, a base of, in this case, a base of longbowmen are 3 figures, right? Same thing with the crossbowmen. So these are not how I'm going to base them. This is just how I'm going to organize them. Because once I get them painted, then I'll pick and choose which figures I want to put on which bases and stuff like that. So there is a 4-base tug, is what they call it. Going with crossbowmen now. And I do believe that in Magna, it's 4 base tugs, I think. Okay, so there's another tug. That's a tactical unit group, is what they call their tugs. Now we're going back to longbows. And that's another tug. So that's 2/3, right? So that right there is fine. But I'm not going to have another 2/3 here. So we're going to go crossbow. Okay, I'm a little confused here. Okay, that's a perfect number of crossbowmen. And I only have a few figures left. I could save them. Or I could... Yeah, I can make another 2 bases and have a couple extra figures laying out. Something's not right. It's okay. I just won't use these. And we'll go 50-50 if this is correct. So let me pull up the army list for us to look at real quick. Let me adjust my position here, my microphone and my glasses. I want to be able to show you what I'm looking at. Is it going to open? Yep, okay. Renaissance? Nope. Medievals. Yep, that's the one. Let's see if you can see this. Sort of. Yeah, that's probably good enough. Okay, now I'm going to go down to 5509. That's the army list that I'm working with. Medieval Burgundians. Okay, I think you can see everything. Okay, we're not working with the knights or this. Here we go. No, Burgundian, Picard, or Low Countries crossbowmen. I have to have at least 4 bases. And I can have up to 16 bases. Okay, well, this would be the 16 bases on the table, right? Not counting these other bases. And then I can, up to 2/3 of them, I can change to longbow after 1431. And loose formation basically means 3 figures per base. So they're formed loose. They're protected, which means they've got like light armor. They're average quality, that's not bad. And they're experienced shooting, power or crossbow. Points per base. 80, oh, yep, there it is. Stakes. I could spend 10 points. Oh man, I got hiccups. I could spend 10 points and give the longbowman stakes. Wanted to show you something. The English contingent from 1420 to 1435. Yeah, that would work. English longbowmen, I could have 8 bases of them. a minimum of 4 if I take the English contingent. But if I take the English contingent, I have to have at least 4, well, I have to have exactly 4 bases of English men-at-arms, which did not come in this box or this bag. No English men-at-arms. I could have 2 units of 4 because the unit size is right here, 4. So I could have 2 units of 4 longbowmen. And I could, if I need to, I can use these longbow figures in my English contingent. Okay, I'm going to have to pick and choose which ones I want to use. I don't think I want to use any of these. So yeah, I'm going to go with 50% crossbow, 50% longbow. The unit sizes are 4 on both, okay. But the maximum I could have is 16. Yeah, the middle Swiss. Halberdiers, pikemen. Now, the here it is. Low country pikemen and yeah, I've got some they gave me peasants. So I think that's what that is. And I have low country spearmen. But I'm going to make them low country pikemen. Yeah. I want to get some guns, but I'll have to do that later. All right. So they got these, some of these guys have their arms like sticking back out their back. I don't know if I like that pose very much. It's like he's already fired or something. The guys that look like they're pulling the string back, I think I like them better. There's going to be a couple of them with their hands back. Yeah, I I might put them in a unit. But I'm only going to use these for the English if I need them. Otherwise, I'm just going to have extras. I'm not going to paint them. So these 16 bases is what I'm going to paint. All right, so with the double-sided tape, it makes it very easy for me just to peel the tape off. And with these short sticks, these are like 6-inch sticks, I should be able to do 6 figures fairly easily. Pushing down a little bit so it'll stick into the double-sided tape. My fingers feel a little sticky themselves. Maybe for being inside of the these gloves. But I take the gloves off so that I can use my fingernails to get under, to get this paper. And I'm putting them on the 3M tape, kind of at a 45-degree angle, just so I can get in there and paint them. There's probably no need for that because they're nicely spread and they're not that big of a figure. All right, guys. Well, this is what we're going to call it. It's almost 11. I'm going to mount these all on these sticks, and I'm going to prime them white and go from there. I do have a video I want to record that's going to be my all project update, which you already know what that's about. But it's going to let my audience know the status of all my different projects and what I plan to do in 2025. All right, so I will catch you in the next one. Merry Christmas, everybody.